Glass shatters somewhere behind him. Elion Virel's fingers slip on the manila folder. Papers scattering across polished marble like evidence no one will ever read. His breath comes too fast. The air in Corven Hale's office tastes metallic, wrong, like copper pennies dissolving on his tongue. The door locks with a click that echoes through his bones. "Yes, sir. I just need your signature." Elion's voice cracks. He hates how small he sounds. How predictable. HR said. HR isn't here. Corven circles him slowly, dress shoes whispering against tile. The ex-alpha moves like someone who remembers what power felt like and refuses to forget. "You smell unguarded, boy, like spring rain before a storm." Elion's scent suppressants are failing. He can feel them breaking down under his skin, betraying him the way everything in his life eventually does. The silver band on his wrist feels heavier than it should. A donor protection program gift he never understood but wore anyway because foster kids don't ask questions. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. The 38th floor of Black Crown Holdings has floor-to-ceiling windows. Manhattan sprawls below like a world that forgot he exists. No one ever screams here. Elion learned that his first day. Voices stay low, mistakes disappear quietly, and Omegas like him are supposed to be invisible. Corven grabs his jaw. The touch is clinical at first. Fingers pressing into soft skin just below his ear where scent glands pulse. Elion freezes. Every training video he ever watched flashes through his mind in fragments. Keep your head down. Don't make eye contact. Good Omegas don't cause trouble. You know what happens to pups who wander into places they don't belong? Corven's breath is hot against his cheek. Stale coffee and something darker underneath. They learn. Elion tries to pull away. His body won't cooperate. 19 years of conditioning scream at him to submit, to disappear, to make himself smaller until the danger passes. But Corven's grip tightens. "Please." The word tastes like ash. "I didn't do anything wrong." That's what makes it easy. The slap comes without warning. Not hard enough to break bones. Hard enough to shatter something else. Elion's cheek explodes in heat. White-hot pain blooming across his face like a flower opening too fast. He stumbles backward, hip colliding with the glass wall. Papers flutter around him like dying birds. His knees buckle. The marble rushes up to meet him and suddenly he's on the floor, tasting blood where his teeth caught his lip. Red drops fall onto white tile. Tiny perfect circles that grow and blur. Somewhere in his chest, something cracks that has nothing to do with ribs. Corven looms above him, backlit by floor-to-ceiling windows. No one will believe you. An Omega pup accusing an executive? You're what, 19? Unbonded? Unclaimed. He crouches down, eye level now. You don't even exist on paper that matters. Elion's fingers find the silver band on his wrist. He doesn't know why he presses it. Doesn't know who programmed the emergency beacon or why a random foster kid would have one. The metal grows warm under his thumb. Across the city, an alert burns red. Corven doesn't notice. He's too busy reaching for Elion's collar, fingers hooking into fabric. Let me teach you something about the real world, boy. Protection laws don't apply when nobody's watching. Elion closes his eyes, waits for what comes next, and wonders if anyone heard him scream. Will Elion survive what Corven has planned? Who's on the other end of that emergency beacon? The first foster home smelled like boiled cabbage and bleach. Elion was 7 when they taught him to hide. Not physically. Omegas couldn't hide their nature forever, but spiritually, emotionally. They taught him to fold himself into shapes that took up less space, to swallow words before they became problems, to disappear while still standing in plain sight. Good Omegas don't cause trouble. The orientation video droned through a static-filled television. Animated characters demonstrated proper posture. Shoulders curved inward, eyes downcast, hands clasped at the waist. Your value lies in compliance. Your safety lies in silence. Elion memorized every rule. He learned to apply scent suppressants at dawn before anyone woke, pressing the cold gel into pulse points until his natural smell vanished beneath chemicals. He learned to recognize alpha moods by footsteps alone. Heavy meant angry, quick meant impatient, slow meant dangerous. He learned that virgin omegas attracted attention like blood in water, so he dressed in layers and avoided eye contact and pretended he didn't exist. Now, curled on Corven's office floor with blood on his lip, those lessons mock him. His body is betraying him in real time. Fear scent blooms despite the suppressants, sweet and vulnerable and exactly what predators hunt. His hands tremble. His breathing hitches in a rhythm that screams prey to anyone with working instincts. Shame crawls up his throat because part of him understands this is his fault. He was too visible, too careless, too something. Corven's voice slithers through his fractured thoughts. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Elion doesn't want to look. Looking means acknowledging what's happening. Looking means accepting that all those years of obedience and silence didn't protect him after all. They just made him easier to hurt. But conditioned behavior runs deeper than choice. He looks up. Corven's face is patient, almost kind. That's worse than anger. Anger would make sense. This cold calculation in his eyes, this absence of rage, means he's not losing control. He's choosing this. Every touch, every word, every second Elion spends bleeding on expensive tile. Good boy, Corven murmurs. See how easy it is when you cooperate? Elion's stomach twists. The praise feels like acid, burning through the last defenses he built from broken rules and empty promises. He wants to fight, wants to scream, wants to do any of the things those training videos warned against. Instead, he flinches. Corven stands, brushing invisible dust from his suit. Behind him, security cameras sit dark and lifeless in their corners. Elion notices them now, black domes that should be recording, should be watching, should be something. But tiny red lights that usually blink with mechanical vigilance are dead. You're wondering about the cameras, Corven says conversationally, following his gaze. I disabled them 20 minutes ago, before you even knocked. The words land like physical blows. Before you even knocked. Planned. Premeditated. Not an impulse or a mistake. A trap Elion walked into with a manila folder and naive trust in HR protocols. His silver band grows warmer against his wrist. He doesn't understand what it's doing, doesn't remember pressing it, doesn't know if it matters. Donor protection programs probably don't cover corporate assault. They're just feel-good paperwork for kids aging out of the system. Nobody's coming. Corven moves toward him again, slow and deliberate. Let me make something clear. When you leave this office, if you leave this office, you'll do it quietly. You'll tell HR everything went fine. You'll smile and nod and go back to whatever irrelevant little life you came from. Elion tastes blood and copper and fear. Why? The question escapes before he can stop it. Omegas aren't supposed to ask why. Why invites consequences. Corven pauses. Something flickers across his expression. Too quick to name but familiar somehow. Resentment, maybe, or hunger. Because I can. Because the world took everything from me, and boys like you represent every rule that destroyed my life. He crouches again, close enough that Elion can count the silver threads in his hair. You don't get to be protected while I rot in obscurity. The lock on the door clicks, not unlocking, securing further, engaging a second deadbolt Elion didn't notice before. The sound reverberates through the office like a coffin sealing shut. Corven reaches for him with deliberate slowness, fingers outstretched. And Elion realizes the cameras aren't the only thing that stopped working. What happened to Corven that made him this way? And why is that silver band getting hotter? Corven Hale stopped being an alpha on a Tuesday. The memory lives in his chest like shrapnel. Sharp and infected and impossible to remove. He was 41, successful. Feared across 3 East Coast territories. Then the vote came. Unanimous pack rejection, authority stripped, name erased from syndicate records like he never existed. The official reason was failure to adapt to modern protocols. The real reason, he refused to pretend Omega protection laws made sense. Now, standing in his own office with an unbonded pup bleeding at his feet, Corven feels something like vindication. The world wanted him civilized, restrained, neutered, but they forgot. You can't train out instinct. You can only bury it until pressure builds enough to explode. Elion Virel represents everything Corven hates. Young, protected, registered under federal programs that didn't exist when Corven was building empires. The boy probably never fought for anything in his life, never had to claw through ranks or prove dominance or sacrifice pieces of himself for power that evaporated anyway. Soft, that's what this generation is. Corven reaches for Elion's collar again, fabric bunching in his fist. The Omega's pulse hammers visibly against his throat. Hummingbird fast, fragile. Part of Corven expects resistance, hopes for it even. Fighting back would justify what comes next. But Elion just stares at him with wide dark eyes that shine with unshed tears. Disappointing. Say it, Corven demands quietly. Say no one will believe you. Elion's jaw works. Blood stains his bottom lip where teeth broke skin. No one will believe me. Again, no one will believe me. The repetition should feel satisfying. It doesn't. Corven spent years imagining this moment. Not specifically, not this boy, but the concept. Reclaiming what was stolen. Proving that old hierarchies still matter. Showing that pretty laws and paperwork can't overwrite biology. Yet standing here, watching Elion fold into himself like origami, Corven feels nothing except the same hollow rage that's lived in his chest since that Tuesday 5 years ago. He doesn't see Elion Virel. He sees the Alpha Kings who voted against him, the younger generation who called him outdated, the system that decided his experience meant less than their politics. Every Omega who smiled safely behind legislation designed to make men like Corven obsolete. You know what you are? Corven's voice drops to something almost gentle. Gentle is worse. Gentle means he's not angry, he's certain. You're proof that the world's gone soft. That power doesn't mean anything anymore. That boys who should be claimed and bred and useful get to waste themselves on corporate paperwork instead. Elion flinches at the words. Good. Let him understand how the world really works. Let him learn that protection is an illusion. That safety exists only when someone stronger decides to grant it. That Omegas might have laws now, but laws don't stop locked doors or disabled cameras or men with nothing left to lose. Corven pulls Elion upright by his collar, not rough, but firm, establishing dominance. The boy weighs nothing, all bones and fear and that damned sweet scent breaking through suppressants. Up close, he's almost pretty, wasted potential in human form. Here's what happens next, Corven says, inches from Elion's face. You forget this meeting ever happened. You tell HR I signed your papers. You go back to whatever meaningless job they gave you, and you never speak about this. Because if you do, he doesn't finish the threat. Doesn't need to. Elion's legs give out. Corven catches him easily, one hand wrapped around a thin bicep. The boy is shaking so hard his teeth chatter. Pathetic and perfect and exactly what Corven needed today. A reminder that despite everything he lost, he's still capable of inspiring fear. Still powerful in the ways that matter. The silver band on Elion's wrist catches light from floor-to-ceiling windows. Corven notices it for the first time. Delicate metalwork, expensive, out of place on a foster kid doing HR errands. Probably stolen. Omegas like Elion always had sticky fingers. He doesn't recognize the craftsmanship. Doesn't know what it means. Doesn't care. Corven shoves Elion backward. The boy hits the glass wall again. Softer this time, more controlled. Papers crunch under his weight. Blood from his lip smears against his chin. Please, Elion whispers. I'm sorry. I don't know what I did, but I'm sorry. Corven leans close, breath hot against the Omega's ear. You existed. That's enough. He raises his hand, and Elion's eyes close. What will Corven do next? Is there anyone who can stop him? The elevator descends through 40 floors of steel and glass. Rhaedon Karsyn doesn't fidget, doesn't check his phone, doesn't acknowledge the 2 bodyguards flanking him or the driver waiting in the underground garage. He exists in perfect stillness, The kind men learn when movement means weakness and weakness means death. His reflection stares back from polished elevator doors. Tailored charcoal suit, silver cufflinks, dark skin smooth except for one scar along his jawline that most people are too afraid to ask about. Alpha King written in every line of his posture. The city sprawls below his penthouse tower. Manhattan at dawn looks almost clean from this height. Streets scrubbed of last night's sins. Steel towers catching early light like there's something holy instead of just expensive. Then his watch burns red. Not vibrates, burns. Emergency alert. The kind programmed into only 3 devices worldwide. The kind that means someone wearing his bloodline beacon is in immediate danger. The kind that shouldn't exist because he made sure his son would never need one. Reeden's eyes go black. Not metaphorically. The pale gold that usually marks him as dominant alpha drains away, replaced by something older and infinitely more dangerous. His driver notices in the rearview mirror and goes pale. "Turn the car," Reeden says. His voice stays level, calm. "That's worse than screaming. Sir, we're 10 minutes out from. You have 3. The driver's hands shake on the steering wheel. "Sir, traffic laws?" Reeden leans forward slightly, just slightly. "Do I look like I care about traffic laws, Marcus?" Marcus doesn't answer. Smart man. He jerks the wheel hard, cutting across 2 lanes toward an exit that'll take them north into the financial district. Horns blare. Someone screams. Reeden doesn't blink. His watch displays coordinates. Black Crown Holdings, 38th floor, office 3847, corporate building, neutral territory. No reason his son should be there. No reason Elion should be anywhere without a full security detail and advanced clearance and every protection Reeden spent 19 years building. But that's the thing about secrets. Eventually, they bleed. Reeden's phone buzzes. He ignores it. Buzzes again. Probably his security chief realizing the same alert just lit up their system. They'll mobilize. Send teams. Follow protocol. But protocols take time, and Reeden already knows what 3 minutes means in situations like this. 3 minutes is how long someone can scream before their voice gives out. 3 minutes is how long it takes to break someone who doesn't know how to fight back. 3 minutes is an eternity when you're being hurt and infinity when you're trying to save someone. The car accelerates. 60, 70, 80 through a 45 zone. Marcus runs a red light, barely slows for the intersection. Smart. He understands what happens if they're late. Reeden's jaw tightens. He made a choice 19 years ago. Keep Elion hidden. Keep him safe. Raise him in foster rotations under false names and sealed records where enemies couldn't find him. Where Reeden's world, syndicate politics and territorial wars and men who'd use a child as leverage, couldn't touch him. It seemed like mercy at the time. Now it tastes like failure, because Elion doesn't know who he is, doesn't know why he matters, doesn't know that the silver band on his wrist is more than jewelry. It's a promise, a claim, a declaration written in bloodline and authority that says this one is mine. Touch him and die. Reeden pulls up building schematics on his phone. Black Crown Holdings, 42 floors, private elevators, security on every level. Office 3847 belongs to Corven Hale. Alpha, disgraced 5 years ago for refusing to adapt to modern Omega protections. Known for harboring resentment, Reeden's vision goes darker. He knows Corven, not personally, but reputation travels in syndicate circles. The man was old guard, dangerous once, now just bitter and declawed and exactly the type to take frustration out on someone vulnerable. Someone like Elion. The car screeches around a corner. 2 minutes now. Buildings blur past. Marcus is driving like he's running from God, and maybe he is. Alpha King Wrath looks a lot like divine retribution when it arrives. Reeden's phone buzzes again. This time he checks it. Security footage request. Do you want us to pull Black Crown cameras? He types back with one thumb. No. I want the office intact when I arrive. Because evidence matters less than violence right now. Because whatever Corven did or is doing or plans to do needs to be answered in ways security footage can't provide. Because Reeden spent 19 years being patient and measured and good, and look where it got his son. Bleeding somewhere on the 38th floor. Alone. Afraid. 1 minute. The car jumps a curb, tires screaming. There in the financial district now. Early morning crowd scattering as Marcus drives straight through a pedestrian walkway. Someone pounds on the hood. Marcus doesn't slow. Reeden watches the seconds tick down on his watch. 50 seconds. 40. 30. Black Crown Holdings appears ahead. Glass and steel tower stabbing into gray sky. Marcus aims for the front entrance like he's planning to drive through it. At the last second he brakes, car sliding sideways. They stop inches from revolving doors. Reeden is out before the engine dies. His security detail will arrive in 4 minutes. Building security will try to stop him in 3. Corven will realize what's happening in 2. Reeden has 1 minute to reach the 38th floor. He moves through the lobby like a storm given human shape. Past confused receptionists, through turnstiles that weren't meant to open, toward elevators already bringing him up because his clearance code overrides everything. People stare. Someone shouts. Reeden doesn't care. The elevator climbs. 30 floors. 35. 37. His watch shows Elion's heartbeat. Too fast. Erratic. Spiking with stress hormones that make Reeden's hands curl into fists. 38. Doors slide open. Office 3847 is at the end of a long hallway lined with frosted glass walls. Reeden can hear voices, one pleading, one cold. He recognizes neither but knows exactly which is which. He doesn't knock, doesn't announce himself, doesn't waste time with doors that will just slow him down. Reeden's shoulder hits the office entrance at full speed and the door doesn't open. It detonates. Wood explodes inward. Hinges shriek. Frame cracks. The entire wall shudders. Smoke rolls in from the hallway where building fire systems just activated. Through it steps Alpha King Rhaedon Karsyn. His suit is immaculate.
His eyes are not. Who will survive? What happens next? Corven staggers backward. The office floods with pressure. Alpha dominance, so thick it turns air into concrete. Elion gasps on the floor, lungs seizing. He's never felt anything like this. His training videos mention dominant alphas, but never explain it feels like drowning on dry land. Reeden stands in the destroyed doorway, smoke curling around his shoulders like he brought hell with him. "You touched what was mine," he says quietly. His voice doesn't rise. Doesn't need to. The words land with gravitational weight, bending reality around them until nothing else matters. Corven laughs. It comes out shaky wrong. "You can't prove I..." Reeden crosses the room in 3 steps. His hand closes around Corven's throat mid-sentence, and suddenly the ex-alpha is airborne. They hit the marble desk together, Corven's spine making contact first with a crack that echoes through expensive office furniture. The desk doesn't break. It splits. A fracture line runs through Italian marble like lightning through stone. For the record, Reeden says, pressing down, "I don't need proof." Corven's face goes purple. His hands claw at Reeden's wrist, but might as well be scratching granite. Veins bulge in his temples. Eyes water. Mouth opens in a silent scream that no one will answer because everyone who could help is too afraid to enter. Reeden holds him there for 5 seconds. 10, 15, then releases. Corven collapses across the shattered desk, gasping. Blood runs from where marble shards pierced his suit jacket. He tries to speak, manages only choking sounds that might be words or might be prayers. Reeden doesn't look at him again. He turns toward Elion. The boy is curled against the glass wall, hands covering his head, blood drying on his chin. Bruises already forming across his cheek in finger-shaped constellations. His suppressants have completely failed now, sent flooding the room with fear and pain and something underneath that makes Reeden's chest compress. Innocence, vulnerability, trust that the world would protect him, all broken in one morning. Reeden kneels. The movement is deliberate, lowering himself to Elion's eye level instead of looming. Dominant pressure bleeds away, replaced by something softer. Not weak, just safe. The kind of energy that says, "I'm dangerous, but not to you." Little one, he murmurs. Look at me. Elion doesn't move. Reeden tries again, voice gentle as hands that just crushed marble. You're safe now. I promise. Slowly, terrified dark eyes peer through trembling fingers. Up close, Elion is younger than Reeden remembered. 19 in paperwork, but 16 in fear. All sharp angles and hollow spaces where childhood should have filled him out. The silver band on his wrist catches fluorescent light. Reeden's throat tightens. He removes his suit jacket carefully, movements telegraphed and slow so Elion can track them. The fabric is still warm from his body. He drapes it across thin shoulders, wrapping the boy in expensive wool that probably costs more than every foster home Elion ever lived in combined. I've got you, Reeden says. His voice breaks slightly. He doesn't hide it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I wasn't here sooner. Elion stares at him. Tears cut tracks through blood on his face. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know who you were. Something in Reeden's chest cracks. Of course, Elion didn't know. That was the point. Keep him ignorant. Keep him hidden. Keep him safe from a world that would use him as leverage against an alpha king who built empires on violence and control. Except safety was an illusion, and ignorance just made him easier to hurt. Behind them, Corven tries to rise, gets one arm under himself before collapsing again. You can't claim him, he chokes out. Desperation makes him stupid. He's embonded, unclaimed. You have no legal. Reeden doesn't stand, doesn't need to. His gaze alone is enough to slam Corven back in a broken marble. Open your mouth again, and I'll remove your tongue. Corven goes silent. Heavy boots echo in the hallway, security arriving, finally. Too late to matter. They cluster outside the destroyed doorway, but don't enter. Smart. The room reeks of alpha dominance and broken authority. Walking into that without invitation is suicide. Reeden ignores them. His entire focus is on the boy trembling inside his jacket. Can you stand? He asks gently. Elion nods. Tries. Gets halfway up before his knees buckle. Reeden catches him easily, one arm around his waist. The boy weighs nothing. All fear and bones, and scent that broadcasts hurt so loudly it makes Reeden's instincts scream. He wants to destroy this entire building. Wants to find everyone who let this happen and teach them what protection really means. Wants to go back in time and make different choices, better choices, so Elion never had to be here at all. But none of that matters right now. Right now, his son is bleeding and terrified and looking at him like Reeden might be another threat instead of the solution. I won't hurt you, Reeden promises. He says it loud enough for everyone to hear. Never. That's a blood oath. Elion's breath hitches. Why are you? Not here. Reeden cuts him off gently. I'll explain everything. But first we need to get you somewhere safe. Somewhere with doctors who know how to treat. No hospitals. Elion's voice is small but firm. Please. They'll report it. I'll get pulled from wherever I'm supposed to go back to. Foster system protocols. Of course. Hospitals meant investigations, meant social workers, meant Elion disappearing into bureaucracy. Reeden adjusts his grip, supporting more of Elion's weight. Private clinic. My personal physician. No reports unless you want them. Elion searches his face for lies. Finds none because there aren't any. Finally nods. Reeden guides him toward the door, past Corven still wheezing on broken marble, past security guards who part like water, into a hallway that smells like smoke and shattered doors. Behind them, Corven finds his voice one last time. You can't protect him forever, Karsyn. His laugh is wet, painful. You think you're untouchable? You think no one will come for that boy when they realize what he means to you? Reeden pauses, doesn't turn around. They're welcome to try, he says, and keeps walking. What will happen when the truth comes out? And who else is watching? Reeden's coat smells like cedar and something expensive Elion can't name. He pulls it tighter around his shoulders, sitting on the edge of a leather exam table in a clinic that doesn't look like any hospital he's ever seen. No fluorescent lights, no antiseptic burn in his nose. Just warm wood panels and soft lighting and a female doctor who introduced herself as Dr. Amarachun before checking his vitals without asking invasive questions. Reeden stands by the window, back turned, phone pressed to his ear. His voice carries across the room. Low, controlled, lethal. I don't care if it's Sunday. Freeze everything. Accounts, assets, properties. If Corven Hale breathes without my permission, I want to know about it. Elion touches his swollen cheek gently. The doctor gave him ice wrapped in soft cloth. It helps with the physical pain. Does nothing for the shame crawling through his chest like infection. He should have fought back. Should have screamed louder. Should have been something other than a victim who needed rescuing. Stop, Dr. Chun says softly. She's maybe 40 with kind eyes that have seen too much. I can hear you thinking from here. Whatever you're telling yourself, it's wrong. Elion's throat closes. I just let him. You survived. Her voice is firm. That's what you did. You survived an attack by someone twice your size in a locked room with disabled security. You triggered your emergency beacon. You stayed conscious. Those aren't failures, Elion. Those are victories. The words should comfort him. They don't. Because surviving feels less like victory and more like something he'll carry forever. A weight that doesn't show on x-rays, but presses down anyway. Reeden ends his call. Turns. His expression shifts when he looks at Elion. Something hard melting into something almost gentle. He crosses the room in measured steps. Movements careful like he's approaching a wounded animal. How's the pain? He asks. Manageable. Elion's voice comes out smaller than he wants. Dr. Chun says nothing's broken. Just bruising. Just bruising. Like that's simple. Like his face doesn't throb with every heartbeat. But he can't taste copper every time he swallows. Reeden kneels. The action still surprises Elion. Alpha Kings don't kneel. Everyone knows that. They tower, dominate, command from elevated positions that remind others of their place. But here's Rhaedon Karsyn, CEO, syndicate ruler, man whose name makes federal agents hesitate, lowering himself until they're eye level. I need to tell you something, Reeden says quietly, and I need you to listen before you react. Can you do that? Elion nods, doesn't trust his voice. The silver band on your wrist isn't from a donor program. Reeden's jaw tightens. It's a bloodline beacon. King protocol. It means you're under royal protection. It means he stops, breathes, starts again. It means you're my son. The words land like physical objects, heavy and sharp and impossible to process. Elion stares at him, blinks, tries to find the joke hiding in Reeden's expression. There isn't one. That's not possible, Elion whispers. I've been in foster care since I was 3. No one ever claimed me. I know. Pain flashes across Reeden's face. That was my choice. My mistake. I thought keeping you hidden would keep you safe. I thought if my enemies didn't know you existed, they couldn't use you against me. Elion's hands start shaking. The ice pack falls. Dr. Chun catches it before it hits the floor, then quietly excuses herself from the room. You left me there. Elion's voice breaks. You left me in those homes. With those people. You let me think I was nobody. I did. Reeden doesn't flinch from the accusation. I prioritized the wrong kind of safety. I thought physical protection mattered more than emotional truth. I was wrong. The admission should matter. Maybe it does. But right now it just feels like another thing stolen from him. Years of identity, years of belonging, years of knowing someone out there cared enough to claim him. Why now? Elion asks. Why tell me now? Reeden's expression goes dark. Because what happened today proves my approach failed. Because hiding you didn't protect you. It just made you vulnerable in different ways. Because his voice roughens. Because I've been a coward for 19 years and almost paid for it with your life. Outside the exam room, voices rise. Someone is arguing with reception. Security responding. Reeden's phone buzzes repeatedly. He ignores all of it. I don't expect forgiveness, he continues. I don't expect you to suddenly see me as family. But I need you to understand, you're not alone anymore. You're not unclaimed. You're mine. And anyone who tries to hurt you again will answer to me. The possessive language should feel threatening. Instead, it feels like the first solid ground Elion's stood on in years. His voice comes out barely audible. What if I don't want this? What if I just want to go back to what? Reeden's question is gentle but relentless. To foster care? To HR errands in buildings where men like Corven work? To pretending you're invisible while the world pretends you don't matter? Elion doesn't have an answer, because Reeden's right. Going back means returning to a life that just proved it couldn't protect him. Means more suppressants and lowered eyes and training videos that teach submission instead of strength. I need time, Elion says finally. To think, to process, to take all the time you need. Reeden stands, but doesn't step away. But you'll do it somewhere safe, with security, with people who understand what you mean and what it costs to lose you. The door opens. A man in tactical gear enters. Huge, scarred, moving like violence contained in human form. Sir, building secure. No reporters yet, but that won't last. We should move within the hour. Reeden nods. Prepare the penthouse. Medical suite. Full detail. The man leaves. Reeden turns back to Elion. One more thing. In about 3 hours, the city will know what happened. Corven's arrest. Your identity. All of it. I can't stop that, but I can control how it's framed. Elion's stomach drops. Everyone will know. Everyone who matters. Reeden's voice hardens. Let them understand what happens when someone touches what belongs to me. From the hallway, someone screams Corven's name. The sound is shrill, desperate, cut off by security. Reeden's phone lights up with an incoming call. He glances at the screen. His expression goes cold. We need to go, he says quietly. Now, what did Corven say that has someone screaming his name? And who's calling Reeden? Cameras flash like lightning through tinted windows. Elion hunches in the back of Reeden's car, bulletproof, soundproofed, expensive enough that the leather smells like new money. Outside, reporters swarm the clinic entrance. News vans, microphones, people shouting questions that blend together into incomprehensible noise. When did you find out about your son? Was this a planned reunion? Is it true Corven Hale is being charged with assault? Reeden doesn't acknowledge them. His driver pulls away from the curb smoothly, leaving chaos behind like they're exiting a bad dream. But Elion knows better. Dreams end. This, whatever this is, just started. His phone won't stop buzzing. 14 missed calls. 37 texts. All from numbers he doesn't recognize. He stares at the screen until Reeden reaches over and gently takes the phone from his hands. They got your number from HR records, Reeden explains. It'll be disconnected within the hour. New phone, new number, new everything, new everything. The words should terrify him. Maybe they do. But right now, Elion is too numb to feel anything except the dull throb in his cheek and the weight of Reeden's coat still wrapped around his shoulders. They drive through Manhattan in silence. Buildings blur past, steel and glass monuments to people who matter, people with names that appear in headlines. People like Reeden. People like Elion now, apparently. The car descends into an underground garage. Private. Secure. Guards posted every 20 feet. They take an elevator that requires both keycard and fingerprint. 60 floors straight up without stopping. The doors open into a penthouse that doesn't look real. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing the entire city. Furniture that probably costs more than foster care stipends Elion survived on for 16 years. Art on the walls. Actual art, not prints, original pieces with subtle lighting that makes them glow. Medical suite is down the hall, Reeden says. Dr. Chun will be here in 30 minutes for a follow-up. Security team outside your door. Kitchen's fully stocked. If you need anything. Why are you doing this? Elion interrupts. The question has been building since the clinic. You said you wanted to keep me hidden. Safe. But now you're putting me in headlines. Making me visible. That's the opposite of protection. Reeden is quiet for a long moment. When he speaks, his voice carries weight that has nothing to do with volume. I was wrong about what protection means. I thought it meant hiding you from threats. But all that did was leave you unprepared when threats found you anyway. He crosses to the windows. Manhattan sprawls below like a kingdom, which maybe it is. Syndicate territory. Alpha King domain. Places where Rhaedon's word is law and his enemies are ghosts. There's something you need to understand about power, Reeden continues. Real power isn't invisible. It's undeniable. When people know you matter, when they know hurting you means answering to me, that's protection. Not hiding, not pretending you don't exist, but making sure everyone knows the price of touching you. Elion joins him at the window, sees his reflection in the glass, small, bruised, wearing a coat 3 sizes too big. Behind him, Rhaedon's reflection is solid, certain. Everything Elion isn't. What if they come anyway? Elion asks quietly. What if knowing doesn't stop them? Rhaedon's smile doesn't reach his eyes. Then they learn why Alpha Kings don't make empty threats. Outside, the city glitters. Somewhere down there, Corven Hale sits in a cell. News spreads. People talk. Plans form in minds that see opportunity in chaos. Rhaedon's phone rings. He checks the screen. His expression goes carefully blank. I need to take this, he says. It's the other kings. They'll want to convene about what happened. About you. What will you tell them? The truth. Reeden moves toward the hallway. They are my bloodline Omega, registered under sealed protocol, and anyone who has a problem with that can bring to me personally. He answers the call as he leaves the room. Elion catches fragments of conversation. Formal greetings, controlled anger, someone demanding explanations. Then Reeden's voice cuts through it all, sharp enough to silence. He is my son, Reeden says clearly. Each word lands like a gavel. Bloodline protected under king's right. Anyone disputing that can challenge me directly. Silence on the other end. Long enough that Elion wonders if the call dropped. Then voices explode, multiple people talking over each other, arguing, demanding proof. Reeden lets them. Waits until they exhaust themselves. I don't need your approval, he says finally. I'm informing you as courtesy, not asking permission. More shouting. Reeden ends the call. When he returns, his expression is stone. That's going to complicate things. What things? The other kings have their own agendas, their own territories, their own opinions about succession and bloodlines and who deserves protection. Reeden's jaw tightens. Some of them will see you as a threat. Others will see you as leverage. All of them will test whether I mean what I say about protecting you. Fear crawls up Elion's spine. So I'm not safe. You're safer than you were this morning, Reeden corrects. But safe and untouchable aren't the same thing. Not yet. Not until everyone understands what it costs to challenge me. A knock at the door. The tactical guard from earlier enters without waiting for permission. His face is grim. Sir, we have a problem. Corvin's lawyer is demanding a press conference. Claims his client was attacked without provocation. Says he has witnesses who'll testify Elion entered that office voluntarily. Reeden's expression goes arctic. Witnesses, security staff, agents personnel, people on Corvin's payroll who'll say whatever he needs them to say.
Elion's chest tightens. Of course, money buys lies, power buys silence, and Corven still has both. Handle it, Reeden says coldly. Find every person on that witness list. Offer them a choice. Tell the truth or explain their lies to a federal investigator. Make it clear which option keeps them employed. The guard nods and leaves. Elion stares at Reeden. You're going to ruin them. I'm going to give them a chance to do the right thing. Reeden's voice softens slightly. But yes, if they choose to protect Corven, they'll lose everything. That's what consequences look like. The room feels smaller suddenly, like the walls are closing, like the protection Reeden offers comes with a price Elion hasn't calculated yet. What if Elion starts again? What if I can't do this? What if being your son means becoming someone I don't recognize? Reeden crosses to him, puts both hands on Elion's shoulders, firm but gentle. Then we figure it out together. I'm not asking you to become someone else. I'm asking you to stop pretending you're nobody. Their reflection stares back from the window. Father and son. Alpha King and Bloodline Omega. Two people who should have known each other but didn't. Outside, the sun sets behind steel towers. And somewhere in the city, phones ring with offers and threats and information that will change everything. What will Corvin's witnesses say? And who else is making plans? Corven Hale's mugshot hits the news at 6:47 p.m. Split lip, blackened eye, collar torn where Reeden's grip left marks. He looks exactly like what he is, a man who underestimated the wrong person and paid for it with everything. Elion watches from Rhaedon's penthouse as cable news cycles through the story. Reporter voices blend together, all saying the same thing in different words. Ex-alpha arrested. Assault charges. Victim identified as Rhaedon Karsyn's son. His face appears on screen. Not current. Some old photo pulled from foster records where he's 16 and trying to smile for a camera held by a social worker who didn't care. The image feels like a violation, like someone reached into his past and dragged it into daylight without permission. They'll dig up everything, Reeden says from across the room. He's on his third phone call in 20 minutes. Lawyers, security, people whose names Elion doesn't know. Every home you lived in, every school, every moment you thought was private. Elion's hands curl into fists. Can't you stop them? I can slow them down. But no, I can't stop them. Your news now. Bloodline Omega to an Alpha King. People will want your story. On screen, the reporter pivots to reaction shots. Federal courthouse steps where someone in an expensive suit is speaking to cameras. Elion recognizes the face, Corven's lawyer, the one demanding witnesses. My client maintains his innocence, the lawyer says smoothly. This is a case of mistaken identity and overreach by someone who believes power places them above the law. We have multiple witnesses prepared to testify that young Mr. Virel entered that office of his own volition and the television goes dark. Reeden lowers the remote. You don't need to hear that, but Elion already did. The damage is done. Somewhere out there, people are preparing to call him a liar, to suggest he wanted what happened, to twist his assault into something consensual because that's easier than holding powerful men accountable. His phone, the new one Reeden gave him, buzzes. Unknown number. He ignores it. Buzzes again and again. Block all unknown contacts. Reeden instructs. Only people I've cleared should have this number. Elion does. The buzzing stops for maybe 30 seconds, then starts again from a different number. They're relentless, he whispers. They're vultures. Reeden's voice hardens. And they'll scatter the moment I make it clear they're circling the wrong prey. His phone rings. He checks the screen. Answers immediately. Talk to me. Elion watches Reeden's expression shift. Annoyance to focus to something almost like satisfaction. The call lasts maybe 45 seconds. When it ends, Reeden is smiling. That was my head of security, he explains. 3 of Corven's witnesses just recanted. Said they were pressured into lying. The other 4 are currently negotiating immunity deals with prosecutors in exchange for testimony against Corven. Relief floods Elion's chest. So he can't hide behind false testimony. But this isn't over. Reeden crosses to the window. Outside, Manhattan lights up as evening deepens. Corven's lawyer will pivot, claim entrapment, say I manipulated the situation, anything to create reasonable doubt. But the emergency beacon shows you were in distress, doesn't prove why, doesn't prove what happened before I arrived. Reeden turns, expression serious. Elion, you need to understand something. The legal system moves slowly. Justice takes time. And men like Corven know how to work the system. Fear crawls back. You're saying he might not. I'm saying he will be held accountable. Just maybe not in court. Reeden's tone leaves no room for misunderstanding. There are consequences beyond prison. Assets seized. Reputation destroyed. Every business contact cutting ties. Every door that was open slamming shut. Corven will lose everything that matters. That's justice. Elion wants to argue, wants to demand real accountability, arrest, trial, conviction. But part of him understands what Reeden is really saying. I'll handle this my way. Trust me. Another knock. The tactical guard enters, tablet in hand. Sir, social media is having a field day. Hashtags trending. People taking sides. Some support groups are claiming this proves Omega protections don't work. Others are calling for stricter alpha regulation. Reeden takes the tablet, scrolls. His expression darkens with each swipe. They're turning him into a political talking point. People need symbols, the guard says. He's that now, whether he wants to be or not. Elion's stomach drops. I don't want to be a symbol. Too late. The guard's voice isn't cruel, just realistic. The moment your identity went public, you stopped being just a person. You're a statement about power, about protection, about what happens when systems fail. Reeden hands back the tablet. Double security on all exits. Monitor social chatter for credible threats. And get me a list of every news outlet requesting interviews. I want to know who's approaching this responsibly and who's hunting clicks. The guard leaves. Silence settles over the penthouse. Outside, the city pulses with life. Millions of people living and working and existing without knowing Elion's name. But that's changing. Already changed. There's no going back to invisibility. What happens now? Elion asks. Now we wait, Reeden says, for prosecutors to build their case, for witnesses to formalize testimony, for the media to find a new story. And Corven sits in a cell, watches his empire crumble, realizes exactly what he lost the moment he put his hands on you. Reeden's voice goes cold. And when he's broken enough, when he's desperate enough, he'll talk. Talk about what? Reeden meets his eyes. The people who enabled him. The system that let him operate unchecked for years. The others like him who think power means immunity. On the table, Reeden's phone buzzes. Message notification. He checks it. His jaw tightens. What? Elion asks. One of the other kings just sent a formal inquiry. Wants to know if I'm planning to register you as heir. The question hangs between them, loaded with implications Elion doesn't fully understand but feels anyway. Heir means successor, means power, means a target drawn on his back in permanent ink. What did you tell them? Elion whispers. Reeden's smile is sharp. That my succession plans are none of their concern, but they're welcome to attend your formal introduction next month. What will happen at the formal introduction? And what is Corven planning? The hospital room is dark except for monitors casting blue light across white walls. Elion lies in a bed that's too soft, staring at ceiling tiles that blur together if he unfocuses his eyes. Dr. Chun insisted on overnight observation, standard protocol for head injuries, even minor ones. Reeden agreed immediately, which tells Elion exactly how worried he is. A chair creaks in the corner. Reeden hasn't left, hasn't slept, probably. Just sits there in expensive clothes that are starting to wrinkle, watching over Elion like he's afraid blinking might make him disappear. You don't have to stay, Elion says. His voice sounds hollow in the quiet. I'm fine. Dr. Chan said, I failed you once. Reeden's interruption is soft but absolute. I won't again. The words settle like stones in Elion's chest. Heavy, permanent. He wants to argue, wants to say Reeden doesn't owe him constant vigilance or guilt-driven protection. But the truth is more complicated than that. Why did you hide me? The question escapes before Elion can stop it. Really, not the official reason. The truth. Silence stretches. Long enough that Elion thinks maybe Reeden won't answer. Then, your mother was killed when you were 2. The sentence lands like a physical blow. Elion's breath catches. What? Targeted assassination. Enemies who wanted to weaken me. They succeeded. Reeden's voice is carefully controlled. Too controlled. You were in the car. Survived by accident. And I realized being connected to me was a death sentence for anyone I loved. Elion's throat closes. So you erased me. I protected you the only way I knew how. Reeden stands, moves to the window. Sealed records. False identity. Foster rotations that kept you moving, kept you untraceable. I had people watching, always, making sure you were fed, clothed, safe. But from a distance. Safe. The word tastes bitter. I was alone. I know. Reeden's shoulders tighten. I told myself emotional pain was better than death. That loneliness was survivable, but assassination wasn't. I was wrong. Outside, the city never sleeps. Lights twinkle like stars that fell and got stuck in concrete. Elion watches them blur as tears burn his eyes. Do you know how many nights I wondered what was wrong with me? His voice breaks. How many times I asked social workers why no one wanted me? How many families I watched adopt other kids while I stayed behind? I know. Reeden turns. His eyes shine with something that might be tears but doesn't fall. And I'm sorry. Those words don't fix anything. Don't undo the damage. But I need you to hear them anyway. Elion wipes his face roughly. Why tell me now? Why not just keep lying? Because you almost died today. Reeden's voice roughens. Because my plan, my brilliant strategy to keep you safe, almost got you killed anyway. Because I realized that hiding you didn't protect you. It just made you vulnerable in ways I never anticipated. The monitors beep steadily. Proof of life. Proof Elion's heart still works even when everything else feels broken. What happens to us now? Elion asks. Do I just move into your life? Pretend 19 years didn't happen? No. Reeden returns to his chair. We figure it out together. We make mistakes. We learn who each other is instead of who we should have been. And we deal with the consequences of my choices. A soft knock interrupts them. Dr. Chun enters with a tablet, expression serious. Sorry to disturb, but there's something you both need to know. Reeden's entire body tenses. What? Elion's heat cycle. Dr. Chun pulls up charts, hormone levels, biological markers Elion doesn't understand. It's accelerating. Trauma sometimes triggers early onset. I'm estimating 48 to 72 hours. The room goes cold. Elion knows what heat means. Learned in clinical detail from mandatory Omega education videos. 7 days of fever and need and vulnerability. 7 days when suppressants don't work and scent becomes overwhelming and every alpha within a mile radius knows exactly what he is. We can delay it, Dr. Chun continues. Medical intervention, hormone blockers. But that comes with risks. Do it, Elion says immediately. Whatever it takes. Can't, not now. Not with everything. No, Reeden interrupts. Blockers have side effects. Long-term consequences. You're not risking your health because the timing is inconvenient. Elion stares at him. You don't get to decide that. You're right. I don't. Reeden's expression softens. But I can tell you that delaying heat doesn't make it less difficult. Just postpones the inevitable. And you'll be in a secure location with medical support and people who will protect you regardless. Dr. Chun nods. He's not wrong. First heat is challenging under any circumstances. Better to face it somewhere safe with proper care than risk complications from suppressants. Elion's hands shake. Everyone will know. The other kings. The media. Everyone watching will know I'm in heat. They'll know you're unavailable for 48 hours. Reeden corrects. The penthouse has a dedicated suite for this. Soundproofed. Climate-controlled. Dr. Chun and a female nurse on call. No male staff anywhere near you. And after? Elion's voice is small. When it's over and everyone knows I'm Omega. Reeden says it like it's not an insult. They'll know you're Omega, which they already suspected. This just confirms it. Dr. Chun makes notes on her tablet. I'll prepare the suite. Stock it with everything you'll need. We'll monitor remotely unless you request direct assistance. She leaves, door closing with a soft click. Reeden moves to the edge of Elion's bed. Sits carefully like he's afraid of getting too close. I know this feels like another thing being decided for you, another loss of control. But I promise you're safe. Nothing will happen that you don't choose. Elion wants to believe him, wants to trust that this time will be different. That heat won't mean exploitation or vulnerability or all the horror stories he's heard from other Omegas. What if someone tries? He can't finish the sentence. Then they die. Reeden's voice is flat. Simple. Anyone who approaches you during heat without explicit permission won't live long enough to regret it. The certainty should disturb Elion. Instead, it feels like the first solid promise anyone's ever made him. Outside, dawn starts breaking, pink light touching steel towers, and somewhere in the city, people are already planning. How will Elion survive his first heat? And who's watching the penthouse? The scent hits first, sweet and desperate and wrong. Wrong because it's coming from Elion's room and Reeden isn't supposed to be able to smell it through reinforced doors and air filtration systems designed specifically to prevent this. But there it is anyway. His son's heat scent bleeding through walls like a beacon that screams vulnerable to every predator in the city. Reeden stands outside the sealed medical suite, hands curled into fists so tight his knuckles have gone white. Inside, Dr. Chen's voice murmurs through speakers. Calm, professional, telling Elion to breathe, that he's doing fine, that this is normal. Nothing about this feels normal. Sir, his head of security appears at his elbow. Kasim, 40 years old, former military, loyal to a fault. We have a situation. Of course they do. Because timing is a curse and opportunity always arrives when defenses are weakest. Talk, Reeden orders. 3 separate attempts to access the building in the last hour. Different entrances, different methods, all claiming legitimate business. Kasim pulls up security footage on a tablet. This one said he's a reporter. This one claimed food delivery. This one presented credentials from a rival syndicate. Reeden studies the faces, doesn't recognize them individually but knows the type. Opportunists who smell blood and come circling. Men who think a young Omega in heat is an invitation instead of a death sentence. Current status? He asks. Detained in holding, waiting for your instructions. Release them. Reeden's smile is cold. After they sign statements acknowledging they attempted unauthorized access during a vulnerable period. Make sure those statements are witnessed and filed with local authorities. Kasim nods, understanding immediately. Documentation creates legal leverage. Witnesses create accountability. And men who thought they were being clever suddenly realize they just built their own cages. One more thing, Kasim adds. Corven's lawyer filed an emergency motion. Claims his client's treatment in custody violates his rights. Wants a judge to review the charges. Of course he does. Reeden checks his watch. 43 hours into Elion's heat. 29 more to go if Dr. Chen's estimates hold. Let him file. The evidence speaks for itself. Sir, there's something else. The hesitation in Kasim's voice makes Reeden's instincts flare. What? Corven's been talking. Not to lawyers, to other inmates. And someone leaked audio to a journalist. Kasim plays a recording, grainy, staticky, but clear enough. Corven's voice cuts through interference. You think Karsyn's untouchable? He's not. That boy is his weakness now, and weaknesses can be exploited. Another voice, unfamiliar, responds, Who would be stupid enough to go after an Alpha King's son? Corven laughs. It sounds wet, broken. People who have nothing left to lose. People he destroyed. There are more of us than you think. The recording ends. Reeden's vision darkens. When was this recorded? 6 hours ago, before we could intercept. Kasim's expression is grim. Sir, he's organizing, even from inside. Then we move him. Reeden's voice is ice. Federal custody. Solitary. No contact with anyone except his lawyer. And monitor that lawyer. I want to know every word they exchange. Already in progress. But Kasim hesitates again. This journalist who received the audio, she's asking questions. About Elion. About royal protocol. About what happens if someone successfully challenges your claim. Tell her nothing, Reeden snaps. And find out who she is. Who she works for. Who's paying her to dig. Kasim leaves. Silence settles except for the muffled sounds from Elion's suite. Crying, maybe, or just exhausted breathing. Reeden wants to go in. Wants to check personally that his son is surviving this. But male alphas near omegas in heat creates complications. Triggers instincts. Risks consequences neither of them are ready for. So he stays outside. Keeps watch. and plans what happens to everyone who thought vulnerability meant opportunity. His phone buzzes. Unknown number. He answers anyway. Karsyn. The voice is distorted, electronically masked. We need to talk about your son. Who is this? Reeden's tone could freeze blood. Someone who knows what you're hiding. Someone who understands that bloodline claims require proof. A pause. And proof can be challenged. Then challenge me. Rhaedon's smile is vicious. I'll enjoy educating you on why that's a mistake. We're not interested in direct confrontation, just information about the boy, about his mother, about why you really kept him hidden all these years. The line goes dead. Reeden stares at his phone, thinks about Corvin's recording, about opportunists at the building's entrances, about journalists asking questions and unknown callers making threats. Pieces connecting. Someone is coordinating this, using Elion's heat as distraction, using media attention as cover, building towards something Reeden can't quite see yet but feels approaching like a storm front. Inside the medical suite, Elion's scent shifts slightly. Dr. Chen's voice rises, not alarmed, just attentive. The heat is peaking, the most vulnerable moment. And somewhere in this city, people are watching, waiting, planning. Reeden's phone rings again. This time it's Kasim. Sir, we have visual confirmation. 3 vehicles parked across the street. Occupants using surveillance equipment pointed at the penthouse. Tag them, Reeden orders. I want faces, plates, affiliations, everything. Already running identification. Sir, Kasim's voice drops. One of them just made a call. We intercepted. They're reporting to someone about the boy's condition. Terminate surveillance. Reeden's voice is lethal. Now, through the speakers, Elion's breathing shifts, deepens. The scent intensifies one final time before starting to fade. Heat breaking like fever finally surrendering. Dr. Chen's voice. We're through the worst. He's going to be okay. Reeden exhales. Didn't realize he was holding his breath. But the relief is temporary, because the people watching aren't done. Corven isn't done. And whoever called with that distorted voice just declared war whether they understand it or not. Inside the suite, Elion stirs. His voice comes through speakers. Hoarse, exhausted. Is my father still there? First time he's called Reeden that. First time the word sounds like choice instead of obligation. I'm here, Reeden says quietly. Not going anywhere. Good. A pause. Because I think someone's watching us. Reeden closes his eyes. Of course, Elion noticed. Instinct recognizing threat even through heat haze and exhaustion. They are, Reeden confirms. But they won't be for long. Outside, dawn breaks across Manhattan. And in the hallway, Elion's scent finally fades below the threshold where it calls to predators. But the damage is done. People know where he lives. Know when he's vulnerable. Know that Rhaedon Karsyn, Alpha King, Syndicate ruler, untouchable force, has something worth exploiting. The war Reeden tried to prevent by hiding Elion just began. And this time, there's no going back. What will Reeden do to protect Elion? Who's behind the surveillance? And what did they discover? If you want to see how this story continues, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter. This is just the beginning of Elion and Rhaedon's journey. And trust me, you won't want to miss what happens when the Alpha Kings convene and Corvin's conspiracy is finally revealed. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. Are you Team Reeden, or do you think he made unforgivable choices? Your engagement helps us create more stories that inspire and challenge. Share this with someone who loves intense drama and complex characters. Let's build a community that supports powerful storytelling together.